it's insane to me to go from watching someone for like over a decade and then becoming part of their content and not in a bad way based on what he usually covers.
Right.
So that feels incredible. Like I don't even what is my life?
I don't know if you know this, that the I stand with Foxu hashtag. Did you see that over the week?
Yeah, you guys started that on your stream. That was
Yeah,
insane.
that was just it was strictly out of response to the whole like total I stand with whatever one that it
At
was
first, I was
crazy.
like, why didn't Craig use my name? And then I was like, wait, no, actually, he's a genius because no one can spell my name and it's impossible to mess up Foxu.
It was a mutual decision, and Flash was like, we should do that, and you know what, we did. So yeah, it was
It
good stuff.
exploded. I've seen it everywhere.
Apparently, you're still trending like today, like right now.
That's crazy. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for starting that, by the way, because again, there's been just an insane level of support that I never expected to get because like these journalists went after me and like I have obviously friends, but I'm not a huge online presence. So I never expected to get all of this support from people I've never even talked to before. I never expected Asmin Gold to react to it and defend me as hard as he did.
You
He's
wish
the
he was
reason.
hard, huh?
Oh. She's learning from me.
Well, it's just that you call him husbando and everything, and you know.
Did you hear Kirsche's like little giggle, little
Yeah.
laugh?
My
Oh,
husband defended me.
Kirsche.
Yeah,
Kirsche
yeah,
was
you got the
right.
cute little
I kept
nickname
laughing.
for me.
I was like,
Yes.
oh, she's gonna be mortified that you got her name wrong.
Listen, I appreciate that. It's not that he got your name wrong. He has a nickname for you.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's a cute nickname for me.
That's right.
But it's
yeah,
like I never expected that, and like his video is what inspired me to speak out about how I had been dropped by the Crime Boss devs as well, because that didn't happen like that day when I announced it. It happened back when I was on vacation, 2 days after the Vice article dropped. And when I tried talking to them, I was like, hey, so I've been the target of a harassment campaign for the past month that culminated in an article on Vice dropping 2 days ago. Like they've been taking things that I've said out of context. Like they've been posting lies about me. They made up, the like a Ku Klux Kirsche nickname that for some reason Reddit now believes is what my audience calls me. Like, I was like, what the hell are you talking about, man? I've never called myself that a single time.
Oh my god.
And they were just like, we're not going to talk about it. It was a unanimous decision. Like it had nothing to do with any sort of hit piece or you're dealing with that. And I'm like,
wait.
I just don't believe you
Yeah,
because the things that you linked to me are the exact things that have been posted ad nauseum to harass me with, as well as what is sourced in the article. So there's zero chance I believe you that this just happened to be a coincidence. Like somebody sent you those.
Okay, hold on. So I'm just trying to. This is my first time hearing this, and I'm sure this is first time for a lot of folks. So the timeline is: you go on vacation, hit piece drops. 2 days later, Crime Boss they're just like, well, sorry. And by the way, it definitely doesn't have anything to do with this hit piece that just dropped. Strictly coincidence. Just saying.
Yep.
Thanks for everything. See ya. And you're like,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
That makes it
I
even
was like,
worse.
I was just like, will you guys talk to my manager? And my contact was like, I can ask. And I was like, okay, thank you. And he comes back and he's like, no, it was a unanimous decision. We're not going to talk to you. And I was like, oh, okay.
So what was the last thing that they said to you? Was it, I mean, and what is unanimous? Is this like 2 people, 3 people, 4 people?
I don't know what unanimous means. And I don't know if that means in dev being the developers or 505 being the publishers. I have no idea where it came from or if all of them were in agreement.
Huh. So, and they say it definitely it didn't have anything to do with the hit piece at all. And they just kind of were like, well, see you later. And that was it. And did they say, don't say anything about this publicly?
Nope.
Or
No, they never said anything like that at all.
So how did that conversation end? Was it just like, well, thanks for everything. See you later?
I was just like, okay, thank you for trying. Because like, what do I say to that? Like,
Right.
and I just been keeping quiet about it because I didn't want to give the people harassing me any reason to go harder on it, right? Because they would have seen this as a victory, like, oh, someone bent the knee. That means we can get these other companies to also bend the knee. So I was like, I'm just gonna shut up about it, and I won't talk about it, and hopefully things will blow over. And then another hit piece dropped, and then the Sports Kita article about me supposedly defending Shiloh, even though the VOD that they posted in the article proves their entire premise wrong. And thankfully, Asmin Gold showed that as well. And then another hit piece dropped on some website I had never even heard about and can't remember the name now that I tagged in my Twitter post about all of this. Like, hey, maybe take down your shit too. And also that website that I had never heard of and didn't know that they had wrote a hit piece. Like, they were invoking like coefficient and nags, being like, oh, you guys have to disavow this white supremacist creator. Like, they weren't even saying supposedly. They were just outright calling me that in that article. And I was like, this isn't, you shouldn't even call this an article. They're trying to invoke the name of larger creators to scare them into being like, look, if you don't disavow this person that we've been smearing as a Nazi, we're also gonna call you a Nazi. And you don't want that PR nightmare, do you?
Right.
And it's like, it's just a very
association bullshit,
disgusting thing. And last night, I actually found out that same website, what are they called? Stealth Optional? Yeah. I found out that same website wrote an actual hit piece on me outside of the one mentioning coefficient and nags. And I posted that link just now, because I found this last night. Because I was looking for anywhere else that the Vice articles had been posted in order to send letters to them as well. And, like, I hope that this doesn't keep escalating, because I don't want to have to actually find, someone and spend money on this.
Wait. Is this the... I feel like this is the same guy who wrote the other one.
It's the same guy, Subhuman Kumar.
Is that just irony that his name is Subhuman? Like, I'm just curious.
It must be at this point.
Okay, all right. So, okay, people say your accountability dodger report suggests. And what? Okay, I'm curious to see what report.
Yeah, what reports? It's just like Anna's articles. Like they're just like, oh, there's all this outrage. There's all these things. People want to see Kirsche have accountability. Who? The people who have been harassing me? Because that's typically what you source.
Right. You really went like beat by beat and kind of talked about the Vice article in your Google Doc that you posted a couple nights ago, and you kind of tore it down bit by bit, talking about how they were sourcing like anonymous Reddit people.
Yeah.
It's like
when you click on the sources that Anna posted, it literally takes you to a Reddit post on a Reddit thread on the GamerSup subreddit, and the person's just like, yeah, I've never watched Kirsche, but I've heard these things about her, and I'm like, you're using that as a source, man? Like, come on.
Right. It's been amazing to watch, and then it culminated with obviously I mentioned the Google Doc you posted, and you more or less just said like, look, I don't want to, but if you're going to make me, I will consider a lawsuit here, right?
Yeah.
How close did that get?
I don't know how much I can say about that kind of stuff, but I am hoping that Vice actually did the right thing by taking these down, and I'm not going to see another article regrouped and republished like a week from now, them trying to make their sources better, because I don't think they're going to have much of a claim either way. And these smear merchants, they don't want to take an L, right? They wanted to start this crusade. They wanted to come into the VTubing space. They were going to make this article on other people. Like, I have zero doubts in my mind that they were going to make this on other VTubers until I made fun of Anna's article targeting Vialor, and I am a much, much easier target for these smear merchants because I lean slightly right of center. And because I lean slightly right of center, they can do the typical tactic of like, oh, you're racist, you're a Nazi, everyone's gonna leave you if we call you these things, and so like, slam dunk, easy win. And, I mean, maybe it would have been due to my size and, due to, like, just me being a VTuber, it's a very niche sphere. But unlucky, they targeted the one person who basically gave me content for my stream that I do all the time. Like, reading weird-ass fan fictions and going through someone's, like, past on the street, that's literally what I do. That is my content.
Well, you touched on something I think that's actually really important. And we touched on this, like, really quickly pre-show, but they were definitely trying to make an example of you. And that shit got rejected to half court. And you kind of saw the trickle out of this. It's like first Kirsche, and I said, I am a total tourist when it comes to the VTubing space. But even being a tourist, you can still look at this and be like, yo, there's something going on here. And Blabs and I talked about this yesterday. There's direct parallels between what was going on with you and what we see in the gaming space, and and all these other entertainment spaces where they're trying to use someone as an example. And then it started to kind of trickle out a little bit over the last week with some other VTubers. You want to talk about that a little bit?
What do you mean it started to trickle out?
Well, I saw a couple examples. We sourced, we talked about this yesterday. I don't even know how to say these, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher these people's names. But
that's fine.
Yeah, so, so we saw Kitsu over here, right? They said they got doxxed, right? I don't know if you're familiar with this person. Are you? I'm
kind of familiar with them. I know that they defended me, and I know that they got brought up in one of my hit piece articles as well, because they were just like, I didn't even recognize this other symbol that was on the books, and then they started getting dunked on by the people who had been harassing me for months. And it's like, I very much appreciate anyone and everyone who has come out and been like, why the fuck are you guys doing this to Kirsche? This doesn't make any sense. Like, all right, like, I definitely appreciate that. And I just want to say, like, I'm sorry that these people are such freaks that this kind of thing is going to happen. Like, I get worried when someone jumps into a ring and they might not understand how deranged these people are. I'm used to this derangement because I grew up watching, like, Sargon's videos, watching Mediker's videos, watching people document these insane progressives who are just here to push an agenda. So once this started happening to me, I was like, I know exactly what this playbook is. I know exactly what I have to do in order to fight back against it. And I'm just mostly going to keep my mouth shut.
Right. Until you couldn't.
Yep.
Right.
They have to give you a steady amount of information, as it were.
Right. So ultimately, Asmongold reacts. That helps you kind of realize that it's okay to talk about it. I guess that's when you first felt the need to talk about this. You open up, you start talking about it. They continue to push piece after piece. You pretty more or less talk about Vice and ask them to take it down. Vice takes it down. The multiple articles. How did that feel when you saw Vice take those articles down?
I didn't expect them to capitulate to my, like, civil cease and desist. I expected that would probably get ignored and I would have to escalate it. And even before Asmongold's defense, like, that is what pushed me to speak publicly about the crime boss situation. But before that, I knew that this would escalate into legal fare. Right, like, as soon as that first hit piece dropped, I was like, I know exactly what I need to do, and that is, keep doing what I'm doing. Everything is normal otherwise, but behind the scenes, figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to handle this, right? Like, I need to have a way to document everything just in case. So
they pull them down, and my thought on this was, you had the tweet about it yesterday, the idea that they removed all 3 hit pieces on you, and you said you're glad they did the right thing, allowing the
absolutely.
My thought is that they should fire the writer and the editor.
I agree. They absolutely should, because the writer just basically used the platform at Vice as a blog post to attack someone they didn't like for petty reasons. They were upset that I made fun of them due to their Via Lore article. And they were planning on writing a hit piece about gamer sups, about VTubers in general. They wanted to position themselves as, like, a de facto VTuber journalist to push this Gamergate-style takeover like they did in gaming, like they did in entertainment. And unfortunately, they did not pick the soft target.
they wrote the article that said Waypoint stands with Annabelle Ends, right? And then they pulled that. What do you think that says about them? The idea that they stand with them and then they pull it. Like, I just feel like that sends a more powerful message than a virtue signaling post about how they stand with somebody. The fact that they pulled it.
100%, and I feel like that means that these people have been writing things with no oversight. So, like, if their bosses had seen the things that Anna was writing, had seen what that editor had wrote about standing with Anna, they absolutely wouldn't have been published in the first place. And I'm sure that there are going to be people who are victory lapping, being like, Vice are cowards, they took these down, but that doesn't make them any less wrong, and we're still going to cite them as sources.
Mm-hmm. So there are people who would be critics of this, and some people have said, you know, just the idea of like, oh, Kirsche won, and I saw one of the fiercest critics. First and foremost, do you like, I guess, to put a closing on the Vice aspect of this, if you could say anything to Vice or the editor or the person who wrote the article, do you have anything to say to them when it comes to this, or outside of just like stop being fucking idiots?
Well, I mean, as far as like Anna and the editor that wrote the other article, I think his name is Philip, as far as they go, I don't negotiate with terrorists, so I'm never going to speak to either of them. But to Vice in general, again, I'm glad they did the right thing by taking these articles down before it had to escalate to any sort of actual like legal scenario. But like I cover so many of like the older Vice stories. Like they've written things that are not only like journalistically good back in the day. Like Tim Pool used to do on the ground reporting for them. He went to Sweden. He reported on the no-go zones. Like Vice did good journalistic work in the past. And I also like their slop stuff. I like learning about the donkey fucking rituals and stuff. But then they started doing overt hit pieces, like their article on Japan and the manga industry, and how they took a lot of things out of context, how they tried to paint Japan as having like an entirely pedophilic culture, how they blocked that video in Japan so the Japanese could not defend against that video. Politicians in Japan actually came out and spoke about it. There was a politician interviewed in the video who said that he was incredibly quoted out of context, and he was upset at the level of journalistic integrity on display. And the woman who did that documentary on the manga industry ended up getting a promotion to being a correspondent, I want to say, at CNN's quarters in Japan. So writing smear pieces is also a good way for these disingenuous people who want to fight in the culture war to get false promotions into places that they don't belong. And I think this is exactly what Anna was trying to do, much like the Vice journalist who got promoted to being a correspondent in Japan. Anna wanted to do the same thing in the VTubing industry and be the culture warrior spearheader in our sphere, which is why I don't think it would have stopped with me if I had not done anything.
It's crazy to, like, we see this all the time in gaming as well, this idea of like failing upwards, you know?
Yeah.
And that's almost kind of what it feels like, kind of what you're describing here. So the support's been obviously, you know, through the roof, right? Across the board. You've had you're trending right now. You've been trending for several days. I don't know. Do you want to, outside of speaking to, you know, the Vice article, Vice people and all that, do you have anything to say to everybody that's supported you over the last, you know, few weeks or so?
Just an incredible thank you. Like the amount of people and the amount of support that I have been getting from absolutely everywhere, from people I never expected to have support for me. There have been people who are incredibly left-leaning, who I haven't even spoken to before, who have reached out to me and been like, look, I might disagree with you politically, but even I can see what's happening to you is wrong. I can see that they are taking you out of context, and I'm sorry that that's happening. And so it means a lot that this wasn't just people, like, on my side of the aisle, you know, closing rank, but it was, like, progressives that I've seen on Twitter that I know the names of but haven't interacted with, other like centrist-leaning people who are, you know, maybe disagree with me on some things, and then obviously people who are overtly on my side. And the amount of support, I would not have been able to be as strong as I have been. I would not have been able to mount the sort of like pushback that I did if there wasn't that level of just overwhelming support. So I'm very happy that so many people wanted to defend me.
It almost feels I don't know, maybe I'm just hearing it in your voice a little bit. It almost feels like you're almost a little emotional about it. You know, am
I
I
am.
hearing that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's impossible not to be a little emotional when
Sure.
you have so many people who are willing to correct the record, to show context, to be like, this is wrong and this shouldn't be happening. Even if I don't agree with her, this is still wrong.
Have you had, and I'm not asking you to name names by any means, but have you had people privately reach out to you that you wouldn't expect, or has this all been public, or oftentimes we say this all the time when we talk about things, just the insanity happening in the world. We have people who are, I've had very prominent creators reach out to me and be like, "Hey, can't say anything publicly, but really appreciate what you're doing over here."
I've had a handful of people do that, and I've made sure that they know that they're appreciated as well. I'm sure there's DMs that I've missed. I know some people told me, like the creator of Lords of the Fallen apparently wanted to reach out to me, so I have to go find that DM, because obviously I want to respond to him. That is an insane thing to be reached out. Like, thank you for that. There's been a couple of people who have reached out to me for like sponsors or for like working together for stuff, and I need to go through all of this. Like, it is just an overwhelming amount of support. It has been amazing. And so if I haven't responded to your DM, I'm trying. Like, there's so many. And I do also want to say there's a special enclave of archiving autists in the hidden corners of the internet, and if it weren't for them, I would have been missing quite a bit of very necessary evidence of things from the past. So I appreciate them as well.
It takes a village sometimes, right?
It does.
It's great. Well, I think it speaks a lot about, you were thrust into this situation without being asked, right? You didn't want to speak about it at all until you were almost forced to speak about it. And then when you did, your audience, and people who are not Looney Tunes, looked and was like, "Yo, this ain't right," and the message was very clear. And I'll just speak for myself. I'm super proud of you. I think it's great. You didn't ask me in the situation, and you pulled through great. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I saw one of the content creators I look up to a lot is Mr. Mediker. And I saw that he said he wanted to do a stream on my situation. And it's insane to me to go from watching someone for like over a decade and then becoming part of their content, and not in a bad way based on what he usually covers.
Right.
So that feels incredible. Like, I don't even, what is my life?
I think it's one of those things where generally when people become the content, it's usually a negative thing. But you are the small percentage where, it's been overwhelmingly positive, which I think is a really great thing. And for me, it speaks louder to the idea that people can see through the bullshit. They can see through the nonsense. Sure. They can see through the mudslinging. They can see through the smear. And I think, whether you like it or not, you become like this beacon of like, holy shit, things are shifting a little bit. And that's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, it's been rough to like feel like myself on stream recently. And I don't know if my audience has been able to tell at all, but like with the increased level of weirdos watching my every move in order to try and take more things out of context, try and have more ammo against me.
Sure.
It's just felt like, Big Brother is watching, and if I say something they don't like, I'm gonna have to deal with another explosion. So it's been hard to deal with that as well, unfortunately. And I mean, it happened when like I had drama going on with another content creator, and like his audience had been harassing me due to your Real Game Awards, and he had nothing to do with it, thankfully. Like he was nothing but cordial when I reached out to him, and I was like, bro, I'm dealing with so much right now. Can we just have a conversation, for the love of God? And like, thankfully that went well. And like, I ended up going to his stream in order to like, just fucking like, he came to mine, made some jokes. People in his audience got angry. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go to his stream and make some jokes. you know, and the whole time, like, his chat was mostly upset that I was there. They were insulting me, and it's like, that's fine, I don't really care about that. But the people harassing me, I had been in his stream for like maybe an hour, and he was just like, I'm blind, I'm gonna give you mod so that I can see your chats better since you don't have a check mark on YouTube. And the people harassing me took screenshots of this, and they were like, Kirsche is a longtime fan and longtime mod of a devout neo-Nazi, and that proves our point. Like, what is she doing? She made a joke about Kirschtalnacht. And what's crazy about my joke about Kirschtalnacht is because I was being attacked by his audience. Like, they were making fun of me the whole time I was there. And they're making fun of me for not being racist enough and for being a Jew when I'm not. Not like it would matter, but it's just like, they're making fun of me for that while I'm in the chat. And then my harassers trying to smear me are just like, this proves Kirsche is a Nazi because that audience is making fun of her for being a Jew. Like, what? It was just so ridiculous. I didn't even know what to say. And I checked the Crime Boss like Steam discussion the other day, and there's someone on the left calling the Crime Boss situation Kirschtalnacht to dig at me. So they're making the same exact fucking joke, but it's okay when they do it.
You know, it's the ability for people to take things out of context is just amazing. And you know, it's funny because this was passed around. It kind of went a little viral. We saw this tweet from this person where they were talking about, you know, the idea that specifically when you're talking about Crime Boss, the reaction is, well, we're going to go support Crime Boss because they screwed over Kirsche or whatever. And then people went and they played Crime Boss and they found that it was like, oh, it has Chuck Norris in it, who, you know, whatever, you know, they saw this tweet over here. It says, so I've learned Crime Boss features all these things. And they're like, oh, shit. So about that game.
About buying this game to own the chuds. Like, it astounds me that game was basically like made for me and my audience. Like, it was, my audience was handed to this game on a silver platter because we all love like cheesy 80s, 90s like action movie stuff. Like, all of the characters, you know, they were like goofy stereotypes. It was a lot of fun. Like, you know, most of the complaints I had were like, oh, the AI could be better. You know, sometimes there's like these bugs, you know, but I would do the testing and be like, hey, here's some more reports. Maybe we could fix this. But like, the fact that they didn't even talk to me. Like, they weren't willing to speak to my manager to discuss the situation when it was a harassment campaign against me for a month that culminated in a hit piece article full of slander. It blows my mind.
They just refused. They're like, nah, we're good. We're not even going to speak to them about it, you know?
Yeah. And after promoting the game for 2 years, the first year that game was out, like, it was probably a little under a year, but that first year that the game was out, I wasn't partnered with the developers. I had been trying to contact them. I had sent messages to 505 in email. I had tried applying for their specific content creator program and never got a response. I had tagged them in Discord a bunch of times. Like, I was trying to get anything to do with, like, talking with the developers and getting, like, a bigger promotion for them like I had done with Gameforge and Terra before. And I finally was able to talk to one of the developers instead of someone at 505. And they were just like, hey, we've seen all the promotion you've done for the game. We super appreciate this. Like, this is an insane amount of support you've given us before even speaking to us. Can we see, like, all of the ways you've reached out just so we know exactly how much the ball has been dropped here? And when I gave them just, like, the overwhelming amount of times I had reached out and tried to correspond with them, they were just like, I am so sorry you have been treated this way. This is insane. And so from then on, I've been partnered with them directly for a little bit over a year. And a lot of people who had been trying to say, like, oh, Kirsche really didn't do much for this game, maybe they didn't know about her content. The peaks in the game correspond to, like, when I was playing it. And when I was promoting it. And especially when they had, like, their $2 sale in April, I was heavily promoting people to buy it because it's $2, man. Like, who wouldn't want to buy a game that cheap? And like we had been in talks of like making a character for me, getting a DLC, kind of like H3 has with Payday. We were gonna have like a character. I was gonna have a vector. Like we were planning on all these things. And I was like, hey, I can even reach out to artists, and I can pay for the art to get done to put assets in the game. Like you guys have posters and billboards and things everywhere. For the DLC, I can go and use my own money, pay artists, and get some of that artwork for you in the game. Because it's like I want to do everything I can, especially in all of this like cancel culture nonsense I had been watching happen everywhere else. I wanted to support developers that were passionate about their game, seemed to care about their community, really were excited to work with me. And even when another creator was just like, "Why do you have a Trump supporter in your partner program? This is unacceptable." That creator left, and they were just like, "Yeah, we understand this stuff happens sometimes." So like they were behind me previously. And so it was just really upsetting that they refused any kind of communication in the middle of me having a harassment campaign.
Was there a change in management, ownership,
Nope.
anything like
Nope.
that? It was just the same dudes you were talking to before,
Same dudes.
and all of a sudden something happened, huh?
Yeah. I had played the game on the stream with the developers and the community manager. I have like 4 of them on my friends list. Like we spoke frequently.
And you haven't spoken since.
Nope. The last correspondence is when they dropped me. They haven't sent anything since.
Wow.
And like I was open on my stream, like, hey, if you don't own the game, don't go here. Don't brigade them, right? Like, don't go and stir shit. Like, I ban people in my stream if they go to other communities and stir shit. Like, I don't want that to happen. So I was like, if you bought the game, and if you don't like what they're doing, then change your review, because I'm sure so many people gave them a positive review because of me. And so when a lot of the negative reviews started coming in, like these weren't people who had just bought the game for the sake of leaving a review bomb. These were people who had bought the game and had probably left a prior review, some of them, and changed it to negative. I know that's what I did with mine, and mine even has a developer comment on it, thanking me for all of the support that I've given them.
Wow. And I don't know if you can talk about this at all, but they obviously made a lot of money off of you talking about their game. Do you have like any idea of how much money they made from you just talking about their game? Like tens of thousands of dollars? Is this?
I don't know how much money was made. The developers really wanted to give me the statistics, and I even made the case like, hey, as a creator, those statistics are very important for me as a way to promote myself to other companies in the future, to show them, sort of the power that I have as a creator to be a useful asset to them. But 505 adamantly refused to give me any of the metrics. So, like, the developers only could give me their word about just how hard my support was, how much my support helped them make their Steam release a success, because they had been an Epic Games exclusive for a year up to that point. And so when they released on Steam last year, like, even if 505 wouldn't let them give me the metrics, they were like, I want to express just how much you were helpful here and how much support you've given. And like, I do want to make it clear, like, even if they had given me the statistics, I don't want to do worse by them than they've done to me. So like, I wouldn't show those publicly even after what's happened. Right.
And it's almost classy, Kirsche. It's like classy of you to not like you're doing things the right way, which I think is a really, really good thing. So like, do you think that it came? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it's not like I'm rooting for their downfall. Like, it would be nice if they reached out, since they weren't willing to talk before. But like, this was a game that I loved and was doing things mostly for free. Like, more recently, I'd got an affiliate link, so when people bought the game through my link, I got a portion of the profit. But it had mostly been, just my time and my passion for the game up to that point. Like, I really enjoyed this game, and I really wanted to see it succeed, and I thought that I had found a developer that was a great developer that was also passionate about their game. And so it's really, really sad to see that this happened.
It is. And I think we all kind of, it's crazy to see. Do you think that 505 has been people have been critical of 505, some of the decisions that they made. Do you think that there's a possibility. You said you've been talking to the same guys for a long time for Crime Boss. Do you think that decision came down from the publisher standpoint, or was it more of a developer thing? Or do you have
It's
any?
very possible that the publisher were the ones to, give the kill orders. I wouldn't have any idea. And I mean, if I was the developer and it was the publisher that demanded this happen, I would be incredibly pissed. I don't know if they would have any sort of like legal recourse against the publisher for something like this, but excuse me, that would be interesting to find out.